Okay, so I'm going to try to do a video on how I do my water propagation with leaves for succulent growth. Here's an example of one that's already successfully growing. And here's one that's grown so much that I'm going to be taking it out. You can see there's a man overboard in there. I think there's a plant on it, or there's a plant that fell off it. Anyways, I'm going to take these out in a minute. I'll show you that. But what I start with is a jar. I just save jars from food jars. You can peel off the label. If it comes off, you don't have to. So what I do is I fill it up with water to maybe like avalanche over here, an inch or two of water. I don't want, as you can see, I really don't want the roots in the water. Some of these roots got in the water, but the roots that are in the water, you see they're kind of opaque and mushy looking. They don't work well in soil. You want your roots to be pink and thick, and those are the ones that'll grow well in the dirt. But once they hit the water, they become water roots. So what I would do when I pull these out, I will take the part that's a water root and just rip it off, because it's just going to die in the soil, and the other roots are fine. I'll just tuck those into the soil when I lay the plant out in the soil. Like you can see all these are my nursery plants that I already sprouted, many of them in the water, not all of them. Some of them I sprouted in this. This is this stuff here. It's kind of wet because I just watered. This is cocoa peat. See how it's really loose? It's almost like sand, but it's an organic material that doesn't hold a lot of water. It doesn't have a lot of nutrients either. So you can see I have little beads of fertilizer in there in some places too. But it's really nice for growing your plants when they're little, because the roots are so small and this stuff is so light and airy that it's easy for the roots to get in there and grow, and it just helps the growth process. If you put them in dirt, like I have one tray over here that's dirt, those have been growing forever and they're just kind of like not growing very quickly. But this tray, I've already had multiple like generations of plants come and go from these trays, because they grow fast under the plant light especially, but I also have the window light during the day. So these grow really quickly, and then once the leaf dies or gets dried out, I try to get off the mother leaf. If I can't remove the leaf very easily and it looks dead, I'll take scissors and I'll just like snip it like really close. I don't know what I'm doing with this camera. I'll snip it just like right here, really close to the plant, and just stick that down in the dirt, and it doesn't bother the plant. This one, the roots are coming out. Sorry, I couldn't find anything to hold my camera. But anyways, so I try to keep the roots down in there, but those curved leaves are challenging. So anyways, here's what I do. This is the easiest thing. I used to use plastic wrap, and it was a pain in the butt. Sometimes it would rip, or it sticks to itself. So I get one of these fold top baggies. They're really cheap at the store. I use them for a lot of things. And I'll just lay the baggie over that with the water. I already have the water in there, of course. And I'll just put a rubber band around the top. Let me do that. Okay. So put a rubber band, and I'll tighten it down as best I can. Can't do it with one hand. So I'll make it nice and tight. So then you got your lid. But you want air holes also. You don't want to just put leaves through there, because if it doesn't get oxygen, it's not going to be happy, and it might start getting moldy and dying and stuff. So you want to start making, this is my favorite sharp steak knife, just a little slit, just a little one. And then I'll take one of these leaves that hasn't grown yet, like this. Just take your little leaf, and there you go. You want to make sure the slit is not big enough for the leaf to fall through. If you have a leaf that's almost the same length, like it's just a long skinny leaf, make a smaller hole that's tighter, but you don't want it so tight that it like bruises your leaf, because that can happen too. And then after you do that, I just stick it in a sunny window. I might put it on my plant shelf with my plant lights and let them just sit there in the sun, the sun or the light, and grow. And eventually they get to the point like this one. I just noticed, I was looking at my plants on the shelf, is already done. It hasn't been up there maybe 2 weeks. You can see all the little plantlets are really growing kind of big. So it's ready to come out. And so what I'm going to do is remove it. And it has a smaller rubber band, which is kind of tight. So I think I'm going to try to cut it, because I don't want to injure the plant. There we go. I cut the rubber band with a knife. And then I take off Usually I have a plate or a tray, but I'm just going to use my little cardboard table here. Take it off. See, there's all your babies. And this is the easiest way I've ever found, and I love it because you can actually see the progress of your plants. You can see what's going on. Stuff isn't rotting. It's not getting messed up. It's just really neat and clean and efficient. One of them obviously didn't grow much, but I can just lay that one in the dirt, or I can stick it back in the pot and let it keep going because it's got a little root. It's just a little slow. So then what I do to get them out, because they're kind of tight, is I'll take the knife carefully because I don't want to hurt the leaf, and I'll take a knife or scissors. Like sometimes I come in with scissors from the edges and I cut through the plastic until I get to the hole where the plant is. And there we go. So I pulled it out. I'm having a hard time with the camera. I pull it out. There's my baby. It has a little root. And then I'll just find a spot in my nursery and wiggle it in there. You don't even have to do anything because this cocoa is so light. You can just wiggle the plant and the roots will find their way into there. So then what I do is I just leave them in here until they get nice and big. I just took a bunch of them out. Like this one over here can come out at any time because it's completely grown into an independent plant. That one, actually it's also, that one I stuck in here because it fell off a plant outside and I'm trying to get it to grow roots. I put a little bit of, I just got root powder for the first time to kind of help some of my projects. So I put a little root powder on the bottom of that one because it doesn't really have a root. And then I'm just going to wait and see what happens. So root powder is just to help plants when they need a little help getting the roots going. So yeah, then if there's any babies in here that are salvageable, I'll fish them out, but they look pretty gross. So probably just dump those because I have plenty of babies. Got more over here. I keep that one there because it gets the morning light. So yeah, once these get bigger, then I get a little tiny, maybe like a 3 or 4 inch terracotta pot, and I put a little dirt in there. And you can put like a little layer of the cocoa peat on top just so they can start, and a little bit of fertilizer beads or whatever. And then I just put those out with the plant light or in the window. I don't put them outdoors when they're babies because outside is just too harsh and the babies usually die because they just need water more frequently and they don't tolerate a lot of heat and a lot of sun and all that stuff until they get bigger. So the babies, I usually keep them indoors. I've tried putting them out and they don't like it out there. So yeah, that's the process. And then when you get some more leaves, you just sit them out for a couple days and then you start a new jar. And now this one's ready to be used again. That's the life cycle of a propagated leaf.